everybody, to the Indiana Basketball Weekly Show on the Grueling Truth Sports Network. The Indiana Basketball Weekly Show is brought to you by MyBookie.ag. So if you want to go make a bet on the NFL playoffs this weekend or the Indiana-Northwestern game coming up this weekend, go to thegruelingtruth.net, click on the MyBookie.ag banner. It'll take you right there. I am the host for the Indiana Basketball Weekly Show, Mike Goodpaster. Right now, I want to welcome him, my co-host, 1981 national champion, number 34, Steve Risley.
Mike, how you doing this evening?
All right. How you doing, Steve? And Indiana, as we talked last show, the important thing is the win. They won tonight 74-70 over Penn State. What was your initial opinion of the effort?
They won the game. We talked at the end of the show that what they just need to do right now, focus on any cost they can right now is win ball games. They won this ball game. And anything else we talk about for the rest of the time we're on the air is going to be rhetoric BS because I don't think any of the problems are going to be solved to make this team a competitive basketball team with the upper echelon of college basketball. And I don't even mean contend for a Sweet 16 or anything like that, or just to be able to, we're beating teams that we should be beating a lot more soundly than we are, but we are winning games. So with that, hurrah, we got another win. Every win we get right now gets us one step closer to playing in March, okay?
And hopefully when they continue to win, some of this stuff will maybe start to take care of itself.
Well, the positive thing here is that I really like what I like is finally Coach Miller's spreading out his playing time. He's getting some other kids involved in the game that are making contributions. They're earning their minutes, they're earning their playing time. We got a good effort out of Newkirk tonight. That's 1 out of 10, but we need more consistency from that. Johnson just seems to be a kid who wants to really want to play for himself. He puts points on the board, but he made some really bad senior decisions toward the end of the game, ill-advised drives, ill-advised three-pointers, not getting in people's faces and giving them open threes with the last minute in the ball game twice. I saw Coach Miller get on him pretty hard about that. It just doesn't seem like I genuinely think he thinks there's an I in team. I guess that's the only way I could put it is he just thinks there's an I in team. And, I see other kids out there trying to do things, but when you see your senior leadership, who should be providing you leadership and coaching on the floor, not delivering. And I heard everybody, come out and say that he had a monster game last game by scoring 29 points, 28 points, whatever he got. But what was his level of contribution to the team? Level of contribution to his point total. I understand he just was a fourth player to score 203 pointers in his college career. Everything's about I, and me. And this team will not advance beyond its current level of capabilities until Robert Johnson decides to step up his game and put the team in front of himself. And what he needs to do is go back and watch about 10 games of Yogi Ferrell playing his senior year. Because Yogi had a lot of this going on his first 3 years too. Yogi came back after he didn't get the looks he wanted in the NBA. And Yogi came back to be a team player and really probably had one of Crean's best years his senior year because of the commitment he made to better the team. And when Johnson decides to do that, because he is one of the two best players on that basketball team, but mentally he's not one of the two sharpest players on that basketball team, and as a senior he needs to be. So we're going to languish beating mediocre teams, winning games, going to Michigan State and really not having a chance to win the game. Hopefully we can make a good showing. You got Maryland coming in. You got Purdue coming in. Every win is critical for us right now, and we have to have a Herculean effort out of all players on all cylinders on all games from here on out. And if Johnson and Newkirk aren't going to do it consistently, then dadgummit, get somebody else in the game that will just play hard for you.
Yeah, and my problem was this, Steve. You get in that last 13 minutes, Johnson completely spit the bit in this game, and you've got Al Durham sitting on the bench, and Al Durham may not be talent-wise near as good as Robert Johnson, but Al Durham doesn't make the stupid mistakes. He's going to take care of the ball, and the thing that really bothers me, when you're up 8 points with 5 minutes left, that last 5 minutes should you be parading to the free throw line because you're driving the ball to the basket, you're being aggressive, and you're forcing the other team to foul you. And instead, we're settling for three-pointers that are stupid. We're driving with a minute and throwing the ball out of bounds. And sure, Archie Miller yelled at him and everybody made a big deal about it. Maybe it's time to sit his ass when that happens and put Durham in the game.
Yeah, I don't have an answer I only know how it was when I was there and what would have happened, transpired, had that type of behavior carried on into critical wins for any win for us or any loss for us in the game. I know what the outcome would have been, and that Johnson would not have been in the game at the end of the game. But this isn't my era. This is a different, and I don't want to rip on Coach Miller, what his thought process is, what his style is, what he sees that we don't see in practice every day. There's so much more that goes into it. But right now, this team is not a team of James Bonds. They're not assassins. They're not killers. They don't go hunt people. We play very lethargic basketball. I noticed at the end of the game, we're dogfighting it out with them now, keeping it within 4, 6, and 8 points. They're putting us on the free throw line. I don't see any player on the bench standing up, cheering on people on, clapping. It's like they aren't even happy to be there. It's like it's a Tuesday night. Housewives of Beverly Hills was on tonight. I got to get home and watch it, and I don't really want to be here at this basketball game. It's kind of the mentality I almost just feel is in that whole building right now. The crowd wasn't even into the game. And I don't know.
I don't know that I've seen a home game except for Duke where the crowd seemed into the game.
I agree. They're not bringing the crowd into the game. They're not. Morgan comes out on fire. That doesn't fire the crowd up. The kid scores the first 8 points of the game, misses a contested dunk that would have given the first 10 points of the game. That doesn't get the crowd fired up. It's just like this team, led by our seniors, has almost lured us into a lethargic sense of basketball this year.
Yeah, and Juwan Morgan.
We continue to.
Yeah, I've got a problem with Juwan Morgan, and I think the problem is this. The last game he hits 3 threes. This game he comes out and hits 2 early. So now we end up with Juwan Morgan hanging out around the three-point line, missing threes when he should be underneath the basket. And the problem is this. Robert Johnson is a senior. He's a guard. He should be grabbing Morgan and telling him to get his ass under the basket, but he can't because the way he plays is what Morgan's doing when he does that.
Yeah, I agree. I don't want to turn this into a rip session on the players because they're doing what I said they have to do. They won the ball game. Let's keep that in perspective, and that continues to keep the sun shining down on our little seed that we're planting right now, hoping it grows into a tournament berth. But we get against teams that are talented and well coached, and we're going to be in big trouble. We're not going to be a factor in the game. And it won't be because we don't have the talent to play with them, because the announcers kept thinking that Penn State had more talent than we did on the floor. I didn't think they did. I thought top to bottom we had better talent on the floor. We just weren't utilizing what talent that we had. And I don't know. I don't know what to say to that. I mean, this is not going to be Coach Miller's finest season at IU basketball, bar none. And maybe it's some of the leftover the Crean personality that's left over there. Maybe the kids haven't responded to him. The kids don't seem to even really respect Miller at this point. I noticed Johnson a couple times. I just wanted to watch his demeanor in the huddle when Miller started ripping on him, and it was almost like an NBA huddle. It's like the players were all looking everywhere else.
Yeah.
And it's like there was no – he twice he came down and didn't guard a guy on a three-point shot. It drained him at the end of the game, and he just kind of looks at him, and Miller gets on him, and he just kind of wanders over to the bench and stands and stares at the ceiling. And, I don't know what to say. I don't know what the whole mentality is. I'm not in practice. I've not been to a practice. I don't know how practices are conducted, but there does not seem to be a lot of team unity on this team and a lot of camaraderie that's going to bring these kids together so they can rise to an occasion and win critical games. We won 2 games now, but we beat 2 opponents we should have beat a lot worse than we beat. But we did beat them. So that's the good thing.
Yeah, and overall, I think these kids do play hard. I think that you just got 1 or 2 guys that don't seem to be on board with this. And when that happens, one guy can destroy a team. And I hate to keep getting on this, but it's every game, and nothing's done about it. And I love Archie Miller, and I think 4 or 5 years from now, this is a top 10 program. I think he's that good of a coach. And I know that he's kind of stuck with what he's got here, but I would just like to see something done.
I could not disagree with you in any sentence that you just said. There's nothing wrong with what you said at all. It's entirely true. This team is underachieving. It's underachieving for the level of talent that it has and the level of coaching ability that it has. They just are not meshing together as a group of players, and so be it. Maybe we just start pointing toward 3 or 4 years down the road. I think the Final Four is in Indianapolis in 2021.
Yeah.
Maybe we shoot that as our target date for when Indiana really emerges as a basketball power.
Yeah.
We bring it home back again in Indianapolis. Maybe that's just a more realistic target.
And that Friday night, we'll be doing a live show from Indianapolis.
There you go.
So make sure everybody tunes in 3 or 4 years.
But
right now,
center court.
the guys to me that are really getting it done is Zach McRoberts. No points, but he is the one guy there that seems to play with energy all the time. And I mean, I think that he is kind of overlooked. You'll see an announcer say something here or there about him. But he's the guy that, the old Larry Bird in 1979 at Indiana State just diving out of bounds to get a loose ball. That's Zach McRoberts. And I just wish some of this would rub off on everybody else.
Well, you bring up a good point, and I always kind of gauge this a little bit on myself because I wasn't considered a big scorer at IU, obviously. But I tried to make the effort, and I tried to make the impact where I could. And McRoberts is the only kid in the game that fouls out for us. Who has fouled out for us all season long?
Zach McRoberts.
I
think Morgan did once, didn't he?
Maybe, yeah. But other than that, if you aren't pushing the limit on fouling out, and you don't have a lot of talent, or you aren't swift and fast enough to get things done, then you got to play hard. And I'm gonna tell you, we just aren't playing hard. And McRoberts fouls out. Nobody else fouls out. I'm looking at the box score right now. Who do we even have close to even fouling out besides him? Let me see. Personal fouls. We have nobody else with above 3. We got Juwan Morgan with 0 fouls. Okay, you got your big man playing inside. 0 fouls? Who are you battling? Okay, you get 0 fouls? Seriously? Smith, 3 fouls. Newkirk, 3 fouls. Johnson, 3 fouls. McRoberts, 5 fouls, and that's it. But, you can't have Juwan Morgan in there playing. That just tells me they're not playing defense. They're an offensive-minded basketball team. They're not playing defense. We were always having kids pushing. That's why we had to be deep because we didn't have the talent a lot of these guys do with a Kitchell or a me or a Bushy or a Phil Eisenbarger or something like that. These kids that came in and made contributions that did it in ways other than just put points on the board. And I'm looking at this saying, we got one kid fouling out, one kid playing hard defensively, doing it. And I don't think any McRoberts fouls were really stupid fouls. He was battling inside. But he's not even the biggest kid on our team. So, yeah, we can find flaw. It's going to be easy to do. And I'm sure if you go on Twitter and watch all the other websites, they're going to break it apart statistically for you and tell you where everything is. But I'm just going to tell you right now, this team has no heart.
Yeah,
it just has no heart to win basketball games.
I think the heart thing really shows up when you look at the stats of 3-point shots taken. I mean, inexplicably, they took 27 3-point shots tonight, made exactly 3 of them. Meanwhile, they shot over 50% from inside the arc, hit 80% of their free throws. So the blueprint to score points for this team is right in front of them. And yet there are still these crazy stretches where they'll just start firing threes en masse, completely ignoring the post. And without fail, the offense stagnates horribly and allows the opponent to creep back in the game.
To some degree, and it wasn't around when I played, but a 3-point shot's a cheating man's shot. It's lazy.
Oh, you're just saying that because you were 6'9" or 6'10".
No, I'm going to tell you what. I'm the most happy person in the world that there wasn't 3-pointers when I was playing because my ass would have been on the bench more than it was. So the first time I fired one up, Knight would have sat me down, and I'd never played again. Until I promised him in writing and I'd never shoot another three again. So that's not the point. Is it's a lazy thing to do. Come down, dribble across court, look one way, then fire up a three. I mean, you should always try and get the ball inside, get your 3 points the old-fashioned way. Go to the hole and get fouled. And then, you keep that lane open for the important time to take the setup. The setup three-pointer is good. When you run an offense, you kick it around, you cut, you back cut, you reverse the ball across the top. You do the things you do. Then you design a play to get you a three-pointer. Just running down and just firing up threes. And we were 22% from the three-point line tonight, 6 of 27. So how about that?
Yeah, and the thing is, when you're shooting 50% from inside the arc and 80% from the free throw line, it's kind of obvious what you need to do. And the other thing that concerns me is this. We were looking at losses to Indiana State and Fort Wayne, and you kind of shrug off the god-awful losses as irrelevant. But now in the overall picture, this looks like it's going to be a bubble team, and those losses could end up totally killing this team at the end.
Oh, I said that when they happened. They become critical. They were critical when we lost them. I mean, those are games that would come back to haunt them if they didn't all of a sudden burst out in the Big Ten, and they had an opportunity to get off to get started in the Big Ten. Although Michigan turns out to be a pretty solid Big Ten team right now, they've got a great record in the Big Ten. I think they're playing Purdue tonight, aren't they, to try and knock off?
Yeah, I think so.
Purdue. And but yeah, those in the big picture, in the Sargent ratings and all that RPI index stuff that comes out, those losses count. And they may well come back to haunt IU. First off, they weren't viable opponents. And secondly, we lost to them. And so I don't know, but the only thing Indiana can do to control its own destiny right now is to continue to win basketball games. And right now, we're 2 for 2 since we started harping on getting on that bandwagon. So I'm going to say, we've addressed the cow in the room, the white elephant in the room, whatever. We know it's there. I don't really particularly see, unless Coach Miller just shakes things up and goes drastic, which now he's got dilemmas because now he's winning, and he doesn't want to stop the winning thing because I think he understands how important wins are right now. And you're just kind of caught in a catch-22 situation. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. But I tell you, there's this when individual performance happens toward the end of a game, like what Robert Johnson put up tonight, you got to set him. You got to send a message to a kid like that he's more valuable to the team than he's letting himself be. And that's the bottom line. He's just more valuable to that basketball club than he wants to let himself be.
Yeah, and we're to a point. This Northwestern game on Sunday is critical. Northwestern is a team that I think came into the season as considered one of the top 3 or 4 teams in the Big Ten. They're 1-3 in the Big Ten right now. They're 10-7 overall. They just got done getting blown out by, I think Nebraska blew them out by 15 at Northwestern. Penn State beats them by 15 at home last Friday night. And with Michigan State coming up, Indiana's got a brutal 6-game schedule coming up. And with that schedule, this Northwestern game is a must-win for them.
It definitely is. I mean, and this is a game that's as critical to them as you said to us. You got Bryant McIntosh, who's an All-American, coming into Bloomington. He's grown up right around here. I know his parents are upset that Indiana never took a look at him. It was always his dad's dream for him to play at Indiana. I mean, he's got a chip on his shoulder. I guarantee you, I know Bryant as a kid. He's going to play hard. He's going to play good. He's going to want to win this game. And the kid's a playmaker. He's a ball player. And he'll find a way. If Indiana doesn't come out ready to take everything as one and done from here on out, they're going to be done.
Yeah, because if you look at Indiana State, Indiana State had the one kid at guard who just went off on them. Actually, they had 2 of them to put 30, probably 40 or 50 of the points combined together against the guards. So this is a game where the Indiana guards have really got to play well defensively. And maybe you just tell Robert Johnson to just go play defense.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what you do. You can't waste talent like that. You just got to find some way to engage it.
Yeah, and hopefully
at this point in time, you can't set him down because he's too talented to sit down. Somehow, somebody's got to get through to him that he's got to take charge of this basketball team and lead this basketball team right now. We just can't absorb too many more losses. Here we are, almost 2/3 into the season right now, right? Is that about right? We got maybe
a little over halfway. Little over halfway.
We just won our 10th game tonight overall. We just posted our 10th win tonight. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's our 10th win. Yeah, we are 10-7 overall. We don't win out. We don't get 18 wins. I don't think we get in the dance.
See, I don't know if 18 gets you in.
It's a bubble. 18.
I mean, because I think if you're 10-8 in the Big Ten, but you're sitting there with losses to Fort Wayne and Indiana State, I mean, if you put that up against a team just randomly from the Big East, like a St. John's, that may come in with the same record, but the Big East, I think, is a little bit stronger this year. They got a tougher RPI, and they don't have losses to Fort Wayne in them. I mean, that's going to be a hard sell to the committee.
Well, and I'm not sure that 10-8 gets you in the top half of the Big Ten. You know, it's going to be right on the bubble of even being in the top half of the Big Ten.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think 10-8 gets you in. I think 11-7 or 12-6.
Yeah, I think you've got to be there. Yeah, I think you've got to pretty much figure we're going to lose to Michigan State. We're hopefully going to split with Purdue, although Purdue's awfully good this year.
Well, now you got Ohio State in the mix now too.
Yeah, you got Ohio State in the mix, who's playing incredible basketball. We can't absorb those 3 losses. We've got to win one of those 3 games, I think, to maintain a plausible hope that we get in.
Yeah, because you're going to have a big-time win outside of Notre Dame and Minnesota to be able to get in. You got to offset the 2 bad losses.
Yeah, you're going to have – exactly right. You're going to have one of those as a signature win for you. That will be your signature win. To get that one, and that'll have to be it for the Big Ten at that point in time. So our backs are to the wall right now. I mean, our season is fastly winding down. We cannot lose Sunday for sure. We've got to go up and make at least a strong showing at Michigan State. They just lost, so they're irritated. And they're going to, Izzo's going to want to – and Izzo's in total prep mode right now in the tournament. I guarantee you that. He's building – he does it methodically so he doesn't lose – any effort in the Big Ten, but I've watched that man coach long enough to know he is building his dynasty into the Final Four again this year, or creating that team and getting everybody in place, putting all the puzzles down that need to be there to get himself a run at the Final Four. And then when you get to the Final Four, it's dumb luck from that point on for the most part. And then Purdue, like you said, that's a tough series, home and home usually. But We've got to be ready to play them. We got to win in Bloomington. We got to beat Purdue in Bloomington.
You even got Rutgers in the mix now as like a 12-win team who just beat Wisconsin and had a huge win at home against Seton Hall a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, we're in that pack of what we would call middle of the road teams in the Big Ten. We're right there with Rutgers, with Northwestern, with Penn State, with Minnesota. We're not the notch above them, where the Ohio States and the Michigans and the Michigan States are, the Marylands are. So we're kind of dogfighting it out with those middle of the pack teams to get one of those 2 or 3 middle of the pack spots that'll come out of the Big Ten. We haven't even talked about the showing we're going to have in the Big Ten tournament. I mean, we're going to have to come out of that with at least a win too. Yeah. And the lower seeded we get in the tournament, the higher seed we're going to play in the first round. So we could very well end up with a Michigan, Ohio State, or Purdue on the first game of the Big Ten tournament. You don't want to put yourself in a position where you're coming down as a 7 or 8 or 9 seed playing a 1, 2, 3, or 4 seed in the first game. You'd like to stay high enough in that middle of the pack thing, so you're at least going to maybe your first round opponent be somebody equal value or equal contributory as your team can do.
Well, Steve, I can't say this though, so we can end this on a positive note. I think this team is better than what they were a month ago.
Oh, I agree. No. They're making improvements. I agree. And like I said, they're winning ball games. So as we get off the air here and we go on and wait till Sunday, we walk away with a win, which is the biggest thing, the most important thing, and they are improving. There seem to be some glaring weaknesses in the team that seem fixable. But again, neither you nor I are watching practice every day and knowing what the demeanor is of that team in the locker room, on the practice court, or on the bus, or on the team plane. And none of us know Coach Miller well enough to know how he reacts to player personnel type issues. All we know is what we go on, what we've historically seen with IU do, and we know where that Bible comes from mostly. And certainly that man did it in ways no normal coaches did anyway. So from that being said, as long as we keep winning, everything's going to be fine. We're not going to win a championship this year. We're not going to win the Big Ten this year. But I still believe we can play in March. And as long as we keep slightly improving every game, getting more consistent, and we keep winning, we're going to be okay.
All right, Steve, you want to tell everybody where they can find us on social media?
At Grueling Hoops on Twitter, at grillingtruth.com. I believe you have Facebook pages under Grueling Truth.
Yes, sir.
And my personal Twitter account is srisley34. We'll answer any and all questions that you have at that point in time. And we'll talk to you Sunday. And hopefully we talk about another win and maybe some more positive things to talk about rather than just talking about a win and then having to bury the rest of it.
All right, guys. So make sure you check us out at thegruelingtruth.net. Live shows coming up in the next couple days. We will have tomorrow night the NFL Pick'em show with myself, Brian Schmidt, Manando Scavage, former Denver Bronco offensive lineman Mark Cooper, and former NFL quarterback Jeff Christensen, who is also a private coach for half the quarterbacks in the NFL, including Jimmy Garoppolo. So make sure you check us out tomorrow night on the NFL Pick'em show. Thursday at noon, I will be interviewing on the Legends of Boxing show former heavyweight champion of the world, Larry Holmes. So that about wraps us up for tonight. Make sure you check out all of our shows on iHeart, iTunes, TuneIn, Spreaker. You can go to iTunes and download the Grueling Truth app so you can get all of the shows as they happen. So for Steve Risley, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.